So you have downloaded our workshop curriculum, which you may have read on the website. Our workshop and class series curriculum go through the same concepts but have different activities for their different formats. So the workshop curriculum we have set to be for a 4-hour workshop, and that also includes a lunch break in those 4 hours. Now, you don't have to follow our guide or our activities exactly. We ask that you watch the video where I explain the focus of our keys, so when you make your own, that you can adapt the activities to fit those keys, but you can follow ours or you can make your own. So I'm just going to give you some tips of what worked best for us over the years. So if you're wanting to do your own workshop, that you can have it run smoothly for yourself. So we generally did it from the time frame of 10 to 2. 10 to 2, so that's 4 hours. When the girls would arrive, we would do a get to know you game, and then I would start off by putting the word self-worth into their brain with the following type presentation. You'll read them the definition of self-worth, and you'll generally write it down here. This is just pre-written, and you'll have to explain what the definition means because the girls are anywhere from 8 to 13, but it's the sense of one's own value or worth as a person. And then you'll ask them for examples, and this of course will be blank. You'll ask them for examples of what it means when someone acts, how somebody acts when they have self-worth. So how do they act? What is their behavior? How do they treat others? How does a person with high self-worth act? What is an example of that? And it's going to be quiet. You may have to pull a few answers out of them so that it's not blank, but you'll generally get things like they're nice and they love themselves. It'll be very short. And then you'll move on and ask them for non-examples of what a person acts like when they don't have a high sense of self-worth. And they'll probably generally just say the exact opposite of what's here. And you'll have a pretty short list. And then you'll encourage them to think about self-worth as they go through the 5 keys, and to think of more examples and non-examples of how somebody acts when they have a high sense of self-worth. So then we have the girls work on their boost book, which the boost book is like a self-esteem journal where they can fill it up with things that make them feel good about themselves. And then when they're feeling down, they can look back on it to feel good about who they are. The first 5 pages have prompts, and they kind of tie into each of our 5 keys. And then the rest of the pages are blank, so they can add whatever they want, and we also have those blank pages so that they can glue in their little handouts that they get at each key to glue into their boost book to help them remember the concepts taught at that key, which those booster handouts we print as wallets. Costco is the cheapest way to go, and we have those uploaded in this file as well. So after they work on their boost books, we give them about 30-40 minutes for it. We divide the girls up into groups. Of course, the number of groups depends on how many girls you have. We try to keep the size around 4 to 5 girls per group. Of course, if you have a really large group, you're going to want to do more. And we have the girls rotate through each of our 5 keys at that point. And for the 4-hour format, we have them spend about 20 minutes at each key. So when you have the girls go to each key, you generally have a volunteer set up to run that key's activity. You can give them the instructions provided here on the website, and it's pretty self-explanatory for the volunteers to teach themselves what to do. And of course, you provide all the materials, so it's really easy. And then at the end of the key, the girls get a handout to glue into their boost book. A big thing is because time can just fly away from you, and depending on the group of girls, you may have a super chatty group where the beginning discussion questions, they talk a lot and then they don't have time to get to the activity. And so depending on those situations, I generally give a 10-minute warning for each rotation, and then a 5-minute warning again to just kind of help them keep on track, to be able to have a timeline to help them move through the that station rotation. Of course, you fit lunch in there wherever you see fit. And then at the end, we have the girls all come together and we do a closing activity where we go back to the whiteboard with the presentation I gave at the beginning, and we had them add on to the list like so. At this point, the girls have rotated through the 5 keys and you're doing your follow-up. You're going to revisit this board and you're going to read them what they have already put. And then you're going to get a new color because it just shows the difference in what they've learned visually if you do it in a new color. I mean, you don't have to, but that visual element of how their understanding of self-worth has developed is always good to see. And then at this point, they will be able to give you a lot more answers. They'll pull things out directly from the 5 keys. And if they're still struggling to answer, ask them to think about a key. So for example, let's say they're struggling to answer, to give more examples of what somebody looks like or acts like when they have a higher sense of self-worth. You'll say, okay, think about the good friends versus bad friends key. How does somebody, what is an example of a behavior in that realm when they have high self-worth? And generally that will spawn it. So for example, they may say after that, they have, they get rid of bad friends. Don't mind my crappy handwriting. They get rid of bad friends, or, you know, this list will go on. And then you'll do the same thing for non-examples. And you'll just help them demonstrate or understand that we want them to have these traits to be an example of self-worth, and explain that as they go through their life, that we hope that our 5 keys will help them demonstrate and act on these behaviors and qualities. After that, we have the girls pledge to always shimmer, sparkle, shine, give a few closing words, and we send them on their way. So the workshop format is what we used to do the most because you could reach a lot of girls with the simplicity of our message. But it doesn't allow you, the flaw that we saw in it is it doesn't allow you to get to know the girls as much because you only see them once, and they only get to spend 20 minutes at each key. So while the workshop is great for its own reasons, we also love our class series because it fixes those problems I just addressed, to where you can get to know the girls more and build a relationship, as well as get to dive in deeper to our keys. So if you are interested in downloading our class series materials, I would highly encourage you to do so.